You wake up on cold grass with mud on your hands and smoke in your throat. At first, you think you have survived some accident, maybe a crash, maybe a blackout, maybe a nightmare your brain invented while you were asleep. But then you look around. There are no roads, no buildings, no wires, no engines, no glass windows, and no sound of traffic. Only trees, stone, insects, wind, and the distant cry of animals you cannot name. You stand slowly. Your clothes are torn. Your phone is gone. Your backpack is gone. Everything that made you modern has disappeared. And then the truth hits you. You are not just lost. You are standing in the Stone Age. You have 100 days before winter comes. 100 days before the cold, hunger, predators, infection, dirty water, and one bad injury decide whether you live or disappear like every other forgotten human bone buried under the earth. But you are not empty-handed. You have one thing no one around you has. You remember the future. You know shelter is not just a roof. You know clean water saves lives. You know food must become a system before strength runs out. You know wheels can move more than a human back can carry. You know a house needs drainage before it needs decoration. You know writing can keep knowledge alive after memory fails. And you know civilization does not begin with machines. It begins with order. So you make a promise on day one. You will not just survive the Stone Age. You will try to rebuild civilization from zero. Not with electricity, not with engines, not with impossible chemistry, but with the first real steps that made the modern world possible. Water, food, shelter, tools, roads, records, defense, medicine, and one final signal that proves a thinking human was here. Day one is not heroic, it is ugly. You spend the first morning failing at basic life. You cut your palm trying to break stone. You drink from a stream and immediately regret it because the water tastes alive. You try to sleep under a tree, but every sound in the dark feels like teeth moving through the grass. By sunrise, you understand the first rule. Modern humans are weak when the world stops helping them. So you stop thinking like a person who owns things. You start thinking like a person who must make everything. On day two, you build your first shelter. It is not a house, it is barely a roof. Branches lean against a fallen tree. Leaves cover the top. Mud seals the gaps. It keeps out some wind, but not the cold. At night, rain leaks through and drips onto your face. You do not sleep much, but you learn something important. A bad shelter is better than pride. On day four, you find sharp stone and begin striking flakes from it. Most pieces break wrong. Some slice your fingers, but one edge becomes sharp enough to cut bark, strip branches, and scrape wood. That tiny stone blade becomes your first tool, not because it is advanced, but because it saves time. And time is the first currency of civilization. By day seven, you make fire more reliably. Not easily, never easily. Your hands blister from spinning wood. Your patience breaks before the ember appears. But when it finally glows, you protect it like a living animal. Fire changes everything. Water can be boiled. Meat can be cooked. Smoke can push insects away. Clay can harden. Wood can bend. Fear becomes smaller near flame. But fire does not solve hunger. By day 10, your body is already weaker. Your legs feel hollow. Your hands shake when you work. You realize you cannot build anything serious if you are surviving on berries, roots, and luck. A person dragging logs, digging trenches, and shaping wood needs real calories. So before you build civilization, you build a food machine. The stream becomes your first factory. You cut stakes, push them into the shallow water, and guide the current into a narrow trap. You weave branches between them until fish can swim in easily but struggle to swim back out. The first day, it catches nothing. The second day, it breaks. The third day, you repair it with heavier stones at the base. On the fourth morning, there is a fish trapped in the narrow channel, silver and alive, beating against the sticks. You almost cry when you see it, not because it is food for one day, because it is food that came from a system. A trap can work while you sleep. A trap can feed you while your hands build something else. That is the first real taste of civilization. By day 15, the fish weir is stronger. You smoke extra fish over a low fire and hang it high where animals cannot reach. You collect nuts, roots, and eggs when you can, but now your survival no longer depends only on walking until you find food. You have protein, you have fat, you have time, and time means you can finally build. The first real breakthrough is water. The stream is close, but dangerous. You know clear water can still kill. So you dig a shallow seep pit beside the stream and let water pass through sand before collecting it. Then you build a clay-lined filter using layers of small stones, sand, and charcoal. It is not perfect, it is not modern, but it is better than drinking straight from the stream. You still boil it every time. By day 20, you have a small water station, clay pots near the fire, a covered storage jar, a filtering pit, and a clean place where dirty hands are not allowed. For the first time, survival does not feel like panic. It feels like a rulebook. Keep water clean, keep food high, keep fire alive, keep tools dry. Break one rule and the Stone Age punishes you. Then you begin farming, not because it will save you now, but because one day it might save whoever comes after you. You find wild grain growing near an open patch of land. Your stomach wants to eat all of it. Your brain tells you to save the seeds. Civilization begins when later wins. You clear a small patch with a digging stick, burn the weeds, loosen the soil, and press seeds into the ground. You mark the rows with stones and build a crude fence around them. It won't feed you today, but it changes your relationship with the land. You are no longer only taking, you are planning. Around day 28, the first green shoots appear. Tiny, fragile, almost laughably small, but you kneel beside them like they are a miracle, because they are. The Stone Age has given you something back. Not a harvest yet, not security, just proof that the future can be planted. On day 30, you begin the real house. Not a palace, not concrete, not glass. A house made from ancient materials but modern thinking. The first thing you build is not the wall, it's drainage. You dig a shallow trench around the building site and slope it away from where you will sleep. You raise the floor with packed stones, clay, reeds, and dry grass. You learn quickly that a wet floor is not discomfort, it is sickness waiting. Then come the walls. Woven branches form the bones. Clay, mud, and straw make the skin. The first panels crock in the sun. You add more straw. They crock less. The first corner leans. You brace it. The first roof leaks. You change the angle. The Stone Age has no manual, so every mistake becomes a teacher. By day 40, the house has low walls, a raised sleeping platform, a dry shelf for tools, a clay storage bin for smoked fish and nuts, and a door made from lashed branches. The lock is simple, a wooden bar that slides from the inside, but the feeling is powerful. For the first time, you close something between yourself and the night. The chimney almost ruins everything. The first fire inside fills the house with smoke and sends you crawling outside with burning eyes. You almost destroy the whole thing in anger. Instead, you study the smoke. Smoke wants a path, so you give it one. You raise the chimney higher, narrow the top, and create a small, low vent so fresh air can enter. The next fire burns cleaner. Not perfect, but better. That word becomes your religion. Better. Then distance becomes the next enemy. The best clay is far from the house. The straight wood is uphill. The stone source is half a day. Every trip costs calories. Every load hurts your shoulders. Your body becomes the road, and your body is wearing out. So on day 45, you start building the invention that looks simple until you try to make it. The wheel. You cut round sections from fallen wood and try to shape them with stone tools. They are too heavy. They wobble badly. One splits, another rolls 3 feet and falls over like it has given up. You realize a wheel is not just a circle. It needs balance. It needs a center. It needs an axle. It needs a frame that doesn't twist under weight. By day 52, you have 2-wheeled handcart. It squeaks, it drags, it tips over constantly, but it carries more clay than your arms. That small cart changes everything. More clay means stronger walls. More wood means better roof supports. More stone means better foundations. The wheel does not just move objects, it moves progress. You think about making something like a bicycle. The idea appears in your mind like a ghost from the future. 2 wheels, a frame, balance, speed. But then you look at the rough ground, the stone tools, the uneven wheels, and your own tired legs. One crash could break your arm. One broken bone could kill you. So you do something smarter. You don't build a bicycle, you build a road.
A narrow, packed path from the house to the clay pit. You remove stones, you flatten bumps, you lay flat rocks across wet sections. Over the worst muddy stretch, you place straight logs like primitive rails so the cart can roll without sinking. It is not fast, it is not beautiful, but it turns a painful journey into a repeatable route. And that is what civilization really is. A way to make the hard thing easier next time. By day 60, your settlement is no longer a camp. It has a house with drainage, a clean water station, a fish trap, a smoking rock, a seed potch, a tool corner, a cart path, and storage that does not collapse when it rains. You have not rebuilt the modern world, but you have rebuilt the first layer beneath it. Then danger comes closer. Something tests the fence at night. You hear heavy movement beyond the trees. One morning, your food pit has been clawed open. Another night, the hanging fish rock shakes in the dark. Fire scares some animals. A spear helps up close, but close is exactly where you do not want danger to be. Your modern mind reaches towards weapons, but this time you respect the limits of the world. No gun, no impossible powder, no magic leap into chemistry. You choose physics. Wood bends, rope stores force, weight can fall, leverage can multiply strength. So you build defense from tension, gravity, and distance. By day 68, you have a stronger thorn fence. You hang stones and bones on lines so anything brushing the boundary makes noise. You dig shallow warning pits near the weakest side of the camp. You build a heavy-mounted bow from bent wood and twisted fiber, not something easy to carry, but something fixed at the gate, aimed down the narrow approach. It is crude, slow, and ugly, but it lets a weak human borrow strength from stored tension. The first test fails. The cord snaps and whips your arm. The second test fires too weakly. The third test punches a sharpened stake deep into a rotten log. You stand there, breathing hard, not proud, but relieved. You have not built a modern weapon. You have built a boundary, a message to the night that this place is defended. By day 75, winter is beginning to show itself in small ways. The mornings bite harder, the stream feels colder, the sun leaves earlier. Your grain is no longer small green shoots. It has grown tall, bending in the wind, with pale seed heads forming at the top. It is not a huge field. It will not feed a village, but it is the first true harvest of planning over panic. Medicine becomes the next project because your body is collecting mistakes. Your hands are cracked, your knee aches, your arm has scars from tools, cords, and stone. You make a clean shelf inside the house, boiled cloth, honey sealed in clay, charcoal powder for filtering, splints, bone needles, and herbal poultices tested carefully in tiny amounts. It is not a hospital, but it is the difference between a cut and a death sentence. On day 80, you find a piece of black volcanic glass near the stone bed of an old stream channel, obsidian, sharp enough to cut, dark enough to shine when polished. You do not need a furnace, you do not need refined metal, you need patience. For days you grind and polish one flat side with sand, water, and smooth stone until it reflects light in a broken but usable flash. It becomes your signal mirror. The final project is the tower. You choose the hill above the settlement because it could be seen from far away. You drag poles up the slope using the cart and the log track. You lash them together into a tall wooden frame. Every climb feels dangerous, every knot matters, every loose support feels like death waiting. By day 87, the tower stands, crooked but standing. At the top, you mount the polished obsidian plate where sunlight can strike it. Below the tower, you build a smoke pit that can send thick white smoke into the sky, using green leaves over hot coals. At the base, you place clay tablets marked with symbols: a water jar, a fish trap, a house, a seed, a wheel, a fence, a tower, and a human figure. Writing becomes your quietest invention. No fire, no wheel, no sharp edge, just marks, but marks can outlive memory. By day 93, the grain has turned golden. You cut it carefully, leaving some seed for the next planting. The harvest is small, almost painfully small after months of work, but it is real. You hold the grain in your hands and understand why ancient people worshipped the earth. A seed is not just food, it is a promise. By day 96, the settlement has become something that did not exist before you arrived. A raised house with drainage, a working chimney, clean water, smoked fish, a green patch, a handcart, a rough road, a defensive fence, a medicine shelf, a writing wall, a signal tower. It is not modern civilization, it is the seed of civilization, and seeds are how everything starts. Then the storm comes. On day 98, wind tears through the trees and rain slams into the roof. The drainage trench fills fast. The signal tower groans on the hill. You run outside in the dark with mud up to your ankles, digging the trench deeper with a wooden spade. Water rushes around the house instead of through it. The roof leaks in two places but does not collapse. The chimney smokes backwards once, then clears. The storage bins stay dry. The house works. Not perfectly, but enough. On day 99, you climb the hill and find the tower damaged. One support pole has split. The smoke pit is soaked. The obsidian mirror is still there, but hanging crooked. You are tired in a way sleep cannot fix. Your hands are raw. Your back aches. Your stomach is never fully satisfied. For a moment, you want to stop. You survived. Is that not enough? Then you look down at the settlement, the house, the road, the field, the fish trap, the fence, the writing tablets drying near the fire, and you realize survival was never the full goal. Animals survive, civilization remembers. So you fix the tower. On day 100, the sky clears. Cold sunlight spreads across the valley. You light the smoke pit first. Thick white smoke rises from the hill in controlled bursts. Then you climb the tower and angle the obsidian mirror towards the far horizon. Flash, pause, flash, pause, flash. A simple pattern, a human pattern, not random fire, not ordinary smoke, a message. You do not know who will see it. Maybe no one, maybe another group beyond the forest, maybe travelers, maybe people who will never understand how much suffering went into that blinking light. But the signal exists, and that is enough. You climb down slowly. At the base of the tower, you place your final clay tablet. It does not say your name. It does not explain your story in perfect language. It only shows the truth in symbols. Water, fire, shelter, food, road, defense, signal, memory. You walk back down the rough path towards your house. Smoke rises cleanly from the chimney. Grain hangs drying under the roof. The handcart leans beside the wall, scratched and ugly and more valuable than gold. The fish weir waits silently in the stream. The fence moves softly in the wind, bones clicking like a warning. You arrived with nothing but memory. In 100 days, you failed more times than you succeeded. Your first shelter leaked. Your first filter clogged. Your first field looked useless. Your first wall cracked. Your first chimney filled the house with smoke. Your first wheel broke. Your first road sank into mud. Your first defense snapped and cut your arm. Your first tower almost fell, but every failure left behind a lesson, and every lesson became a system. That's how civilization really begins. Not with kings, not with cities, not with machines. It begins with one frightened human deciding that tomorrow should be easier than today. You step inside the house as evening falls. For the first time, the Stone Age does not feel endless. It feels like the beginning. Outside, the signal tower catches the last light of the sun. Inside, beside the fire, you carve the next list into clay. Better roof, more grain, stronger road, safer tools, larger field, better signal. Because 100 days was never enough to rebuild the future. It was only enough to prove the future could begin again.